My name is Dennis Young, and I'm the owner and proprietor and artist here at Mozart Gallery in historical Newcastle. I retired from the private practice of psychiatry after 40 years in Wilmington in 2017. I would tell my patients, when you retire, make sure you have a plan. I retired and I had no plan. So for a couple of months, I got tired of waking up every morning and thinking, what is the day going to be like today? And then after a few months, the gentleman who owns the building called me and said, this shop came open for rent. Do I want it? Absolutely, I'll take it. And so in 2017, around April, I came in and opened this up and started it. Looking for a name for the gallery. My wife's nickname for me is Mo. So I'm thinking, Mo'zArt. And so that's how Mo'zArt came into being. So a lot of the paintings I had done at home in my studio in the attic, I brought here, and everything here is my work. And it also gave me a place to bring a model in, have a little bit of room in the studio. And so it evolved from doing work in my studio at home, just painting from photos I had or from still life, to painting real life here. So painting the real model, or actually going out on the streets of Newcastle, or my beloved town here. Everyone loves Newcastle. Mm-hmm. And painting in plein air. And plein air is a French word for painting outside, and which is what the French Impressionists did. So I've been known to be the guy who walks around town and pulling my little green wagon with all my paints on it, stopping here or there and painting this scene or that scene in Newcastle. So by now it's really evolved to, I do less of that plein air painting and a whole lot more of painting here in the studio. Painting from photographs of models or the live model. One of my favorites, but not the favorite, is the paintings that I've done of the Kalmar nickel, the replica built in Wilmington by volunteers of the Swedish sailing vessel. And I've painted so many times, I think I dream of it, and I can see the Kalmar nickel on my sleeve. So it's multiple times on the wall behind me, but this one is the painting of the Kalmar as it's sailing away from Newcastle and sailing into the sunset. And one of my favorite things about it, besides the detail in the sails and the ship itself, is the clouds. The clouds is just a panoply of clouds against that beautiful blue sky, which is reflected in the water in the river around it. All of my paintings start off with a background of a brilliant purple, like that, brilliant purple. And sometimes all that purple disappears, but most of the time I'll leave some of that purple shining through. And so you might be able to see in the clouds, there are swatches of the purple that still peeks out, and swatches of purple in the water too. So the purple helps to make the painting pop. It's my favorite color, it's in my hair. It helps to make the painting pop, and it also helps to unify the painting. And so that's one of the crowd favorites. So if people come to visit the gallery, they're really drawn to the painting of the Kalmar. The model I painted the most is Morgan. I've probably painted her 12 or 15 times. So I've had a lot of practice at that. And one of the original ones was Morgan against my characteristic purple background, sitting at the easel in a pose where it looks like she's painting. She's not a painter, but in that one she was. And I had a lot of fun doing that one. It's a very loose painting. Contrast that with this one, which is Morgan in a pose in a Civil War era dress. And the gentleman who made that dress, a local resident in Newcastle, also does hair. So he did her hair in the style that they would have worn in the 1860s. And so that's a very kind of a formal painting that's very enjoyable, very, it speaks to you. She's almost stepping out of the painting. Contrast that and compare it with my favorite painting over here, which is Morgan posing in my hippie jacket. So she sat on the stool here in the gallery. I took a bunch of photos of her in the hippie jacket, kind of tilted over. And then after she left, I started the painting, making it look like she's sitting at a railroad station at on a bench. I borrowed my friend's guitar, my knapsack, the Sgt. Pepper's album, the enlistment poster for the British Army, and there's a ticket in her hand. So this is done to the song from the Beatles album, She's Leaving Home. And her parents are worried sick about her because she's run off to meet that man from the motor trade. That's another one of the paintings with a story behind it that really resonates. In this case, it resonates because of the music, and I really enjoy that. I get a lot of feedback from the residents in town, and many times they will come by and say, "Oh, you're the fellow, I saw you out painting on the green the other day," or "I saw you painting in the street," or "I blew the horn," or "I didn't want to interrupt you because you were painting a model outside." I said, "Don't bother, come by and talk with me, I like to talk." So there's a lot of interaction, a great vibe here in Newcastle. And I'm happy to be here. I think I'm going on my 7th year here, and I intend to be here until my going out of business sale, which will be when they lower me 6 feet under. I joke and say, with all the paintings here, as beautiful as they are, a few years after my passing, they're going to be in the 2 for $1 bin at Goodwill or a garage sale down the street. I really come back to the paintings of the portrait and the model. They are my favorite things to paint, as opposed to painting landscapes, which I enjoy doing, and cityscapes. What I especially like about painting the portrait is that almost every one of my portraits suggests a story, and that's a fun thing to do. So I will paint the model, look for the interplay of light and shadow. That's really important. And in some of them you can see, I may even take it to an extreme. Color's important, but it's the light and the darkness that really wins the prize on that one. Then after, in probably most cases, when I finish painting the model, I then sit back and look at it and think, what's in the background? And so there's the challenge of imagining what is that model doing in this painting, and what's the background that's going to convey a story. So when people come in and see the painting that I've done, I like to tell them about the story, but I don't have to tell them the story behind the painting, because a lot of people can just see the story and imagine the story as they look at it, almost like a Rorschach test. So that's the challenge, to be able to get the model the way I want to portray him or her. And the payoff is that story and people's reaction to that story. I think what art does for a lot of people in society is to help to find some connections. When I talk about the stories that I have in my paintings, a lot of people will see the same connection in that painting, the same story in that painting, and that kind of helps to unite them too. The feelings that I feel in those paintings and try to convey in those paintings do resonate with people who see them. The other thing is that I've enjoyed having people come in who have ever painted in the past, but have gotten away from it because life gets in the way. And so as I show them my paintings and tell them about the stories, I can see a little sparkle sometimes. And there are people who leave here saying that they're going to get back to it, they're going to start it again. Or for people who've never done it, they get a little bit of inclination to maybe give it a shot. Or moving beyond art, to get back to doing something that they love. It may be playing music, it may be playing a sport, it may be cooking again. And so I'd like to kind of help to wake people up to pursuing something that they ever loved before but haven't been able to do it for a while, or thought they might love. And I'll tell them that there were 30 years in my life that I didn't paint. And I regret that. I was busy in life, establishing a medical practice and a family. And I missed those 30 years that I could have done more with. And so I'll encourage people, there's something that you love to do, or might ever love to do, it's ticking. So go ahead and do it. Find a few minutes here and there, or maybe an hour every other month or so, and pursue something that you love doing. You won't be sorry. You'll just be sorry if you don't do it and you've missed the opportunity. I love to give advice to somebody who is starting to paint because they're hard on themselves. And I need to tell them that you won't be painting a masterpiece, I'm sorry, anytime soon. But you have to work at it. Just like you worked at learning to drive a car, or you work at learning how to hit a tennis ball around. There's a learning curve to this. And the simple truth is that you have to practice and do a lot of what you want to do and expect that there are going to be failures, but you'll learn from those failures. You can't get to a good painting until you've made a lot of bad paintings. But you get those bad paintings out of the way and you learn from that. But I do like to tell people, whoever interested in starting, whatever it is that you're starting out doing, give yourself a break and allow yourself to make mistakes. I have a project coming up. This will be the 5th year in Newcastle that I have created and sponsored something called Paint Historic Old Newcastle. So in the 3rd Saturday of May, coinciding with the Day in Old Newcastle, I bring in 25 to 30 artists from around the area who don't have to be professional. A few have never painted before, believe it or not. And they paint the town. They fan out around the historic area of town, and they paint for up to 4 hours. They can paint 1, 2, 3 paintings, most paint 1. And then we gather at the visitor center for judging and exhibition and sales, and it's a blast. The town loves it, I love it, the artists love it. It's a great way to show off Newcastle, especially to people who have never been to Newcastle before and swear they're coming back, and there have been returnees. So that's a big deal, and it's something that I really look forward to, and the town looks forward to too. How do I know when a painting is finished? A kind of real easy answer to that is when I'm tired of painting it. When I think I've made the statement that I want to make of what I'm painting, and doing anything more to it is just going to be adding more that's not necessary, or that might even mess the painting up. Generally, I will take about 3 or 4 weeks to work on a portrait. At that time, I pretty much have accomplished what I want to accomplish with it. If I get that feeling of that emotion in the model's face, and if the story is there that I can tell. Beyond that, I'm starting to get tired of the process, and I want to move on to the next painting. There are a lot of paintings in here. That is a tribute to what I'm talking about. I have over 1,000 paintings that are either here or at home or elsewhere. You'll find some on my website. But the painting is done when I think I've accomplished what I've meant to say. The most important lesson that painting has taught me about myself is going to get reworked into asking instead, what does the painting do for me? I used to deny that I was an artist. People would ask and I'd say, I'm a painter, not an artist. And now, after having done so many paintings, I am able to say I'm an artist, because with all the work that I've done, all those practices, all those mistakes that I've gotten out of the way, all the things I've learned, either from my own paintings or seeing other people paint, has taught me that I'm fairly good at what I'm doing. And by now, I can stop torturing myself with questions about, am I doing a decent job? I'm on Facebook, so under the name Dennis Young. I also have a second page under Mo'zArt, M-O''Z-A-R-T, Mozart Gallery. And I post all of my paintings that most of the paintings that I finish on the website. I'm on Instagram. My email address is dyoungarts@gmail.com. And my website is dennisyoungarts.com. And if I'm lucky, maybe this year I get voted into the Best of Delaware in the Art Gallery section again. So we won't know that until July.